Welcome to the University of Greater Manchester's Freedom of Speech and Academic Freedom Training. In this video, you'll learn what freedom of speech means in a university setting, what the law protects, what it does not protect, and how the university supports open, respectful debate. You'll also explore your rights, your responsibilities, and how to raise concerns. Freedom of speech is essential to higher education. It enables new ideas, critical thinking, and meaningful academic challenge. The law requires universities to protect lawful speech, even when it is controversial or unpopular. Freedom of speech is the right to express ideas, opinions, and information through speech, writing, images, or digital communication. This right applies to all students, staff, and visiting speakers. In the UK, freedom of speech is protected by several laws, including the Human Rights Act, the Higher Education Freedom of Speech Act, and the Education Act. These laws require universities to take steps to secure lawful speech on campus. Importantly, being offended by something does not make it unlawful. Freedom of speech includes the expression of views that others may find challenging or uncomfortable. Academic freedom sits within the wider principle of freedom of speech, but it has a more specific purpose in a university setting. Academic freedom is a specific legal protection for academic staff. It allows them to question established ideas, test received wisdom, and put forward new or controversial viewpoints without fear of losing their job or academic privileges. While academic freedom applies directly to staff, students benefit from the same culture of open inquiry. Universities exist to explore ideas, including those that may be difficult or contentious. Let's take a closer look at what kinds of speech are not protected under the law and look at some examples to better understand these limitations. Examples of unlawful speech include harassment, threats, incitement to hatred, encouragement of terrorism, defamation, and breaches of confidentiality. The university is not required to secure speech that breaks the law. However, the threshold for restricting lawful speech is high, and restrictions must be reasonable, proportionate, and based on legal grounds, not on whether a viewpoint is unpopular. The University of Greater Manchester has legal duties which apply to staff, students, societies, and visiting speakers. These duties are to take reasonably practicable steps to secure freedom of speech within the law. Promote the importance of freedom of speech and academic freedom. Maintain a freedom of speech code of practice that sets out how events, speakers, and discussions should be managed. And to ensure that access to premises are not denied to individuals or groups because of their views, beliefs, or opinions, unless the speech would be unlawful or pose a genuine safety risk. As a student, you have the right to express lawful opinions even if others disagree with you. You have the right to question ideas, challenge arguments, and participate in open debate. You can join societies, attend events, invite speakers through approved processes, and take part in peaceful protest. Your voice matters. You are encouraged to contribute respectfully to academic and social discussions, although with rights come responsibilities. You are expected to engage respectfully, challenge ideas rather than individuals, and avoid harassment, threats, or intimidation. You must allow others to speak, even when you disagree with them. You must also follow university processes for organizing events or inviting speakers, and comply with the law and university policies. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences if behavior becomes unlawful or breaches university regulations. Let's look at some examples of freedom of speech in action. For each example, consider what your response would be or appropriate action to be taken. A student expresses a lawful but unpopular opinion in class. Pause for a few seconds to consider your response. The correct response is to continue the discussion respectfully. A debate becomes heated and personal. Pause for a few seconds to consider the appropriate action to be taken. The appropriate action is to intervene, de-escalate tensions, and guide participants back to a respectful and constructive dialogue. A guest speaker with controversial views is invited to campus. Pause for a few seconds to consider the appropriate action to be taken. If the event is lawful, it should proceed through the university's event approval and risk assessment process. You feel hesitant to share your opinion because others might judge you. Pause for a few seconds to consider how you might overcome your hesitancy. The key message is that you are encouraged to speak respectfully and contribute your perspective. The university uses a risk-based approach when assessing events and speakers. Events may be approved with conditions, or refused only on lawful and reasonable grounds, such as a risk of violence, unlawful speech, or serious safety concerns. Conditions might include ticketing, security, or room changes. These measures are designed to secure lawful speech, not restrict viewpoints. If you believe an event or discussion raises concerns about freedom of speech, you can raise this through the university's complaints process. If you remain dissatisfied, you may escalate your concern to the Office for Students. The university is committed to ensuring that concerns are addressed promptly and fairly. Thank you for completing the University of Greater Manchester's Freedom of Speech and Academic Freedom training. By understanding your rights and responsibilities, you help create a learning environment where ideas can be explored openly, respectfully, and safely. Your voice matters, and the university is committed to protecting your right to express it within the law. Finally, to complete your training, click the assessment button below and answer the quiz questions to earn your Freedom of Speech and Academic Freedom digital badge.